And no longer is world number one Jon Rahm the lone favorite to win this tournament. According to our partners at William Hill, Rahm and the man he bumped off the number one spot, Rory McIlroy, they are now co-favorites to win this weekend in Tennessee. Now, both are going to have serious competition as it is in an absolutely stacked field. We have the top 8 in the world, 45 of the top 50, and not only that, Jon Rahm's time at number one, that could possibly be short-lived depending on a variety of scenarios. There could be one of 3 players who could be number one by the time Sunday evening rolls around. Taking a look at the favorites there, as I mentioned, it is no longer just Jon Rahm who is the favorite. He is tied there with Rory McIlroy at 11-1, followed by Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, and Xander Schauffele. All right, we are gearing up for the WGC-FedEx St. Jude Invitational. It is a very long name, but it is a very fun tournament. And we bring in our good friend, Trevor Immelman. He's going to be on the call for CBS. Trevor, I mentioned, based on a couple different scenarios, we could have Jon Rahm, Rory, JT, a combo of them is number one before it's all said and done. But I want to look at the top 10 in the world because we have these conversations a lot here. You could almost make a case for any of them to be the best golfer in the world. Have you ever seen a top 10 like this?
Well, I sure haven't in the last number of years. What we've seen here, it really has been quite incredible. You've got so many players jostling for position, and like you've just mentioned, you've got 3 players that could grab that number one slot after this week. So it sure is an interesting time for golf, a very exciting time for golf. Back when I was playing 10 or 15 years ago, and Tiger Woods had such a stranglehold on the top slot. Things sure have changed, and it's setting up to be another exciting week here on the PGA Tour.
We're very jealous that you were there, by the way. Very, very jealous. Let's talk about 2 people who are in that top 10, 5 and 6, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka. We have seen a number of issues. Yes, DJ won since the return, but it's just been very concerning for the 2 of these guys. Brooks talks about his knee. DJ was kind of talking about his back. Not sure if that was the case. What is your confidence level for these 2 moving forward?
It's going to be very interesting to see how it pans out for the 2 of them this week. I'll start with Dustin Johnson. It's been a curious return to golf for him. A couple of missed cuts. We saw the WD last week at the 3M Open with back injuries, but he did slide in a win there at the Travelers Championship. So we know that he got a win under his belt a few weeks ago, but sure hasn't been the type of consistency that we're used to from him. So we're keeping a close eye on that. And then Brooks, he just really hasn't got anything going this season so far. Coming in way down on the FedEx Cup rankings, really going to have to play well in the next 2 or 3 weeks just to make it into the playoffs. Really can see the frustration on his face while he's playing at the moment. He knows he doesn't have his best stuff. How much of that is down to that left knee injury and how that's affecting his swing and his preparation, nobody really knows. One thing that he does have to his advantage this week is he's coming in here as the defending champion, so we know that he loves this golf course. He'll have good memories when he gets back on site, and hopefully he can turn things around.
Trevor, we don't get to talk to you all that often because you are a very busy man. So I want to talk to you about Bryson while we have you here. Just taking the golf world by storm. You've been there to watch him in person. He had a little bit of an issue during his last time out. Wasn't too pleased with the way the officials had some rulings there. We're going to see him again here, but just what he's doing, his performance, your take on that and what we can expect from him.
Well, I got to say, it's extremely impressive for a guy last year in the fall to tell us that the next time we see him, he's going to be bulked up and hitting the ball much further. To be quite honest with you, a lot of us had a little bit of a chuckle about it, but we got to hand it to him. He has done what he said he was going to do. In this return to golf, like you touched on, he's taken the world by storm, pitched up on the PGA Tour, picked up 20 or 30 yards, hitting the ball absolutely miles out there. And the interesting thing is the other top players in the world rankings have taken notice and are even talking about it. And as a professional athlete, if you can just somehow get in the head, in the mind of your competitors, that's when you can start to create an edge. And that's what he's done. Sure has played some impressive golf. We saw the win at the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit. And he's going to be coming in here with some confidence. For me, it's going to be very interesting to see not just this week, but in the remainder of the season, how he starts to tighten up that wedge game. If he can do that, the other top players in the world rankings need to look out.
All right, maybe he'll have a couple more protein shakes added on to his diet when we see him.
Sure.
You mentioned the rest of the season. We have the PGA Championship coming up next week. We are very excited for this, the only major of this season.
Yep.
We do expect to see Tiger Woods there. Now, he did not have probably the showing that he wanted to at Memorial when he returned. We actually had to change a couple things on air, thinking he was going to miss the cut. He barely made it. But this is somebody who's 44 years old. As you mentioned, when you were playing, you know Tiger well, you know his game. What is your expectation when we hopefully see him at the PGA Championship?
Well, because I've seen him play such amazing golf over the years, my expectations are always for him to come out and do well. He still has the ability, when healthy, even at the age of 44, to be one of the best players in the world. There's no doubt about that. He's proved it to us in his comeback. He's won already this season. We saw him win the Masters last year. It just concerns me, though, that he hasn't had much tournament golf under his belt in quite some time. Just that one start at the Memorial, he looked really rusty to me. The swing looked good. I will say that. The technique looked really good. But from a scoring standpoint, looked very rusty. And that's the thing that concerns me going into Harding Park. So I think the start is going to be very important there at the PGA Championship. Can he get off to a great start on Thursday? Because once he gets off to that good start, gets some momentum, we all know that he's very well accustomed to being in the hunt, especially at the biggest events, and he'll get on autopilot from there.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of golfers come off the shutdown with a little bit of rust, and Tiger's no exception.
Yep.
Maybe that was just it. Regardless, we will look forward to seeing him. Trevor Immelman, thank you so much. Enjoy your time there in Tennessee. You can hear Trevor on the call with CBS Saturday and Sunday, starting at 2 Eastern on Saturday and 3 Eastern on Sunday.